So we've been going through channels slowly but surely. Okay, LinkedIn, email, where else are you looking? What about text? Who's using text right now?
Text?
Like, I'm gonna kinda. In that I did it in small groups and like I've done very segmented texting, but
Not
nothing.
for me. I don't do it as an initial reach out because it feels a little intrusive to me. Normally, I'll give the candidate an option at some point when I'm talking to them, like, "Hey, we can set up time to talk tomorrow, or shoot me a text." And then if they text me first, then I know it's okay to, and that's their preferred method of communication.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
I also use it a lot. I'm like very natural in communicating things to candidates. So if it feels that it's the moment that I can text, I just use it.
Yeah. For me, I have used it a lot for some high volume roles. So a Chipotle, I'm making this up as an example, they're not a client of mine, but a fast food restaurant, right? You walk in and you say, I'm interested in working. And so you can text, like, I'm interested in a job. You text and it goes through a whole sequence to get you in the door. And then it can update you about jobs incrementally when they have hiring influxes in your area, which is really interesting, but not exactly a use case for developers either.
Yeah.
Does text help on the interviews? Like in my head, a text would be really nice when you're like, hey, how'd the interview go today? Or you need feedback, maybe instead of the ask. Are there other places where we can use text as my question?
Yeah. Once I have a relationship with a candidate, it feels a lot more natural and it's nice. For instance, like I'm a full cycle recruiter, so sometimes there's hiccups day of, like scheduling errors, or the candidate doesn't know where to go, and so it's a lot easier for them to shoot me a quick text, and it doesn't get buried in my email, so I'll see it right away. So sometimes I'll tell candidates like, hey, if you have any problems on site, shoot me a text. Yeah, or sometimes when I go on vacation, if I have like a high visibility offer or something that isn't quite tied up, then I'll give both the hiring manager and the candidate my phone number just to be like, hey, if you need me, I'm here via text. So then I know only the really important stuff is going to hit me via text.
Totally.
Exactly, whenever it's relevant. It's mostly some logistics issues, because when I'm curious about feedback, I prefer to have a phone conversation.
Yeah. I think it's a generational thing too. Like a lot of, earlier in career, like millennial types, they like texting because that's their preferred form of communication. Like if you're talking to like a principal level, maybe a little bit older type of candidate, they probably wouldn't like it as much, I would think.
Yeah.
Yes, a few weeks ago I had a conversation with my colleagues during lunch, and they told me that they are somehow scared of having a conversation by phone, that they really prefer emails or texting. Yeah, and it turned out that I'm really this kind of people person because I use my phone to have conversation with people, not only the text.
That's a real thing. I mean, I know that this is focused around sourcing, but I get a lot of younger candidates that try to negotiate via email and stuff rather than over the phone. And I think it's definitely a generational thing where they're just not as comfortable like getting on the phone and talking.
Absolutely.
Or maybe like a lot of people in tech are just more naturally introverted, so it's a little less intimidating that way.
Yeah, definitely. I feel, I mean, I know I'm very introverted, maybe a little socially awkward sometimes. So getting on the phone is really kind of anxiety inducing. So email, text, I've never actually had that experience, but text sounds wonderful to me.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Straight from the engineer, right?
All right, text away.